There's something you've probably done that, according to actual science, is the reason you didn't reach the thing you wanted. You imagined having it vividly: the body, the job, the relationship, the version of your life where you've finally made it. You were told that's how it starts. Visualize the outcome. Feel it. Hold it in your mind. Every self-help book from The Secret to Psycho-Cybernetics runs on this one idea. Half the manifestation videos in your feed, too. And here's the thing that should bother you. At NYU, researchers tracked women trying to lose weight for a year. The ones who vividly fantasized about being slim, attractive, owning the body they wanted, lost 24 pounds less than the women who didn't. Same diet, same goal. The positive thinkers did dramatically worse. The exact thing every motivational book sold you might be the reason you stalled. By the end of this, you're going to know what actually works. Sorry in advance for ruining a few books. So let's name the lie. The whole foundation of self-help, from the 1960s to the manifestation girls on TikTok right now, rests on one sentence. Your brain can't tell the difference between something you experienced and something you vividly imagined. Maxwell Maltz wrote that in 1960. The Secret recycled it in 2006. People are still repackaging it every week. It's wrong. Or, more accurately, it's dangerously incomplete. Here's what actually happens. When you vividly fantasize about hitting a goal, your brain releases a tiny, real version of the reward you'd get from doing it. It feels good. Your blood pressure literally drops. They measured it. You feel calm, like the thing is already in motion. That's the problem. Your nervous system thinks the work is done. The energy you needed to go do it just leaks into the daydream. You feel like progress when nothing has happened. So every vision board, every imagine yourself crushing it morning routine, that stuff isn't building you toward the goal. It's quietly siphoning off the fuel you needed to get there. 20 years of research across totally different goals and groups, and the same thing keeps coming up. The people who fantasize the most clearly about success made the least of it. Let me make this specific, because you've lived it. Picture a Sunday night. You've had a rough week. You open Pinterest, you open YouTube, you find some video about the version of yourself you want to become. Fitter, calmer, more disciplined, whatever it is. You watch, you scroll, you save the images. You write a list in a fresh notebook. By the time you go to bed, you feel almost high. Tomorrow you start. You're sure of it. Monday comes. The feeling is gone. Not because you're weak, not because you lack discipline, because Sunday night already gave your brain the hit. You took the dopamine, mentally, for the work you hadn't done yet. And by Monday, the bill came due and your nervous system was already broke. You didn't fail at the plan. You spent the plan's energy on the fantasy of the plan. Okay, here's the part that's going to land a little harder, because this isn't just about wasted afternoons. A 2020 study tracked people who regularly indulged in big, positive fantasies about their future. Not goal setting, pure, pleasant imagining of better versions of their lives. Over time, that group showed significantly more symptoms of depression. Read that line again. The exact habit those books told you was the engine of a better life was quietly predicting depression in the people who used it most. Why? Because every time you vividly picture a life better than the one you're in, you also taste, in tiny doses, the gap between them. A small hit of pleasure from the dream, and then you come back to your actual room, your actual job, your actual body, and the gap is still there. Do that for years, and you build someone who feels worse about their real life every time they reach for the fantasy of a better one. The self-help industry isn't always failing to help people. Some of it is quietly making them sadder, and then selling them another book to fix what the first one did. So what does work? The same researcher who tore positive thinking apart for 20 years, Gabriele Oettingen at NYU, gave us the replacement. She calls it WOOP. Wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. You name what you want. You picture the best outcome briefly. This part still matters, just briefly, not as a meditation. Then you immediately picture the most likely thing in your way, not vaguely, the specific obstacle. The 9 p.m. scroll, the friend who texts when you're trying to focus, the voice that says, start tomorrow. Then one if-then plan. If the obstacle shows up, then I do this specific thing. That's the whole technique. Tested against pure visualization in dozens of studies. It wins, basically every time in every domain. The thing that works is the thing nobody put on a vision board, because picturing your obstacle is the opposite of an aesthetic. Most of those books weren't lying out of malice. A lot were written by people who actually wanted to help. But the ones that made it onto every shelf weren't the truest. They were the most comforting. And when you bought one, you weren't really buying a tool. You were buying a feeling, a short, sweet hit of, I'm doing something about my life. The book delivered that, just not the other thing it promised. The real work doesn't look like a vision board. It looks like noticing what's in the way and making a small, unsexy plan on a Tuesday when you'd rather be imagining the finished version of yourself instead. So next time you feel that pull, to picture the outcome and swim in the dream, clock what your brain is actually reaching for. It's not progress, it's the snack.